Arrow Collins.
Did I wake you up?
You did not. How are you, sir?
I can't imagine what your body clock is even like, being over there in Ukraine and then coming back to the States.
Yeah, it's kind of like me, Arrow. And by the way, it's great to hear from you. It is always great to hear your voice. You are a great human being. You do great things, and I'm always better for talking to you. So let me say that first, but it's like me. They say a broken clock is still correct twice a day. That's kind of like my, it's about twice a day I feel good. So that's how it works.
One of the things that inspires me about you is the fact that you just keep pushing. And what I mean by that is that, you're utilizing every bit of the medium when it comes to getting the word out about what you're doing over there in Ukraine while having your feet planted on this soil.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you can turn off and on. I've learned, and not the kind of thing that you can regulate. It's one of those things in life that I don't know. You can't be. As it turns out, you can't be half pregnant about being all in on love and hope. And really the force of the experience over there is just not something that I think anybody could reasonably turn off if you have any kind of conscience, any kind of soul. Just because you get on, you get a car and you drive for a day to an airport and take three jets home, and you're in a totally different land. You can't sever that cord. And frankly, it's very difficult to be here because constantly. It's why I constantly wear every single day. I just wear, kind of the Ukrainian colors. We try to, wear things that say her song on it. Just to, make sure those folks understand that, just out of sight isn't out of mind. And I think it's really hard to pull away from it. Also we're still doing things there, but that's a tough situation, Arrow. And I think you'd be the same way, man. You can't just walk out of a place like that, especially knowing that you have the ability to make a difference. And just shut it off because you want to spend time with your kids. So I try and do my best.
So how did you react this week when the president basically spoke about Ukraine being, we're in this position that reminds them of World War II, but at the same time Zelensky came out of the country and made an appearance to the world?
Yeah, it's a curiosity there. I'm not sure I had any particular reaction to it other than to observe that it is, the truth there. And I wouldn't expect anybody over here to understand this, and so I don't really engage. But anybody on the ground over there understands what's going on, and this is not isolationism is not an option. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a good option, even if it were an option. Just that's my personal view. It wouldn't be wise to isolate if we had that option, but when you're over there, and what all of us understand on the ground over there, but we also understand that nobody over here can understand is that this is not some regional conflict that we choose whether to involve ourselves in for some altruistic purpose. That is not what this is at all. It is a proxy war that is either a prelude to an apocalyptic World War III, or it is an opportunity to prevent that. And we don't have the option of isolating from that. We have to run right at that. And for our own sake, we have an interest in that. So that's kind of how I react to those kind of events.
There's been so much news coming out of Ukraine, and it's not been the best, because all of a sudden you realize that the tanks from the U.S. are being accused of not living up to their potential.
Yeah, honestly, Arrow, there is another reason that I always I sort of look askance at what I read. If I can just, I don't know how to do it other than just to be honest. It always gets me in trouble, Arrow. But, when I read, I really try and stay away from the big headlines because I am inevitably left with a profound sense that there is a gigantic disconnect between the portrayal of the events, necessarily on a high level and generically, and the truth on the ground. And that's not something. So, over there on the ground, that's something that we deal with every day. There's all kinds of logistical difficulties. Things, it's getting things where they need to get. It takes time. There's bureaucracy. Situations change. By the time it shows up, the needs are different. It's incredibly inefficient, and more we are being pulled into that world. I have two lines. I'm not going to do anything illegal. I'm not going to do anything immoral. That's my line. Everything else that I can do in support of humanity, I'm going to do. And one of the things that a lot of folks are playing a role in now is the term. Here's the term that is used is unofficial channels. That doesn't mean, but look, you need things. Okay, I mean, these guys need things. It's a matter of life and death. The headlines are great. $60 billion for all this stuff in the U.S. That's great. But what isn't really understood is it takes a long time to get. There's market forces take over. And create, ways to get them the things that they need quicker. And, folks like us can help with that. So, yeah.
Putin again has stepped forward saying, I'm not afraid of using nuclear weapons. To me, when somebody speaks like that, that shows fear.
Completely agree. I think we learned that in like kindergarten or something, right? Like, it's like walking into first grade and saying, well, maybe it's not. That's a bad analogy, but I agree. I agree. I mean, it's like, if you're playing through, somebody says like, I'm not bluffing. We all know you're bluffing.
Yeah.
So, if you have to say I'm not bluffing, I mean, but at the same time, it is disconcerting, is it not? Mm-hmm. I mean, am I allowed to ask you questions? I don't know how this works here.
Sure. You're more than welcome to.
What's your view on that? How do you feel about that?
Everything that I've written is based 100% on he just showcased his fear that he's afraid that the world is coming to him, and so therefore he's going to put up that big nuclear bomb threat, and we're all going to back down, and it's like, okay, but where I come from though is that, wow, just one of those things goes off either there or even in Gaza, and all of a sudden every whale on this planet, every seal, everything on this planet when it comes to other forms of living things is gone, and I just don't think we're that selfish.
You would like to think that, right?
Right.
I mean, we would sure. I mean, we would sure hope. It's certainly a possibility. I think one of the things that has reassured me is that, obviously people way above my pay grade, and maybe even above yours, if that exists, Arrow, kind of like odds. But I think they war game these things out, and there's all kinds of back channel conversations. And the moment that Putin uses a nuclear weapon, his entire, the entire Russian military is wiped off the face of the planet. NATO's not a bad thing. There's 32 countries, all of which have, a lot of stuff. They're right on the doorstep, and there's different types of nuclear weapons too. We talk about things generically, and I think that causes a lot of confusion sometimes because there's a lot of different flavors of that ice cream. There's sort of, you've got intercontinental ballistic stuff that can like reach the U.S., the stuff that, of the old Cold War era. And then there's lower, caliber nuclear weapons. And I think if they were to use one, my sense is it would be of the latter. But to your point, it's not a great thing to think about, right? I mean, it's not a positive thought. It's not a positive thought.
Well, before joining up with you today, I was looking. I love looking up famous quotes because I believe that famous quotes come from personal experiences, not from this generation, but from generations of afar. And I came across one from Mark Twain where he actually said, "Nothing exists. All is a dream. God, man, the world, the moon, the wilderness of stars. A dream. All a dream." I mean, that just blows me away when people think like that, because I think that you and I are really talking here. This is not a dream.
It's not a dream. And let me just, offer a footnote. I mean, it's not, it's early, Arrow. And I mean, that's some heavy stuff I don't know that I'm intellectually capable of absorbing all that.
I'm having a hard time digesting it. So that's why I gave it to you.
Give me a little warm up, man. I love talking to you for that reason. I'm sure your listeners, I agree. It's not a dream. There's a very big, very serious reality about it. And when I'm over there, there's just, it's the kind of thing that I think I can speak for pretty much everybody over there. My sense is that they feel the same way. There's just some things that there's no way that we can come over here and explain. You don't know this. But over there, it is the tone and tenor of the discussion is very. There is no. I mean, the idea that Putin is that this thing is confined to Ukraine and we can kind of leave it at that is just obviously folly over there. He won't stop until he's stopped. So we either invest. I mean, $60 billion is a lot of money. But again, and I give the speaker a lot of credit, a real profile and courage from my perspective. You know, as he said, I mean, even cynically, we either give them bullets or we give them our kids. You know, so anyway, yeah, it's pretty tough.
I got to ask you something really super personal here, only because I think you can relate with what I'm about ready to share. And it might be heavy, and please openly admit to me that it is. So I step out into my forest here in South Charlotte today. The scent of death is in my forest. You can smell it. There's a dead animal. When you're in Ukraine, I can't imagine you dealing with this daily.
Yeah. And, you know, we don't deal with it daily, but we do deal with it from time to time. I mean, we, you know, for me anyway, enough. And by the way, I don't mind being heavy at all. I enjoy being heavy. You know, we have a limited time on this planet, and I would far prefer to talk of things of consequence and import than the stuff that's trivial. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's encountered directly or indirectly, you know, frequently enough. And, you know, the luxury, if you want to call it that, of being in a place like Kherson, which is different from all the other places, again, the only big city occupied. These are people that live through, you know, something that could be analogized, not irresponsibly, to you know, living through like an Auschwitz. I mean, Russian occupation is okay. The suffering of these people is invisible. It's incomprehensible, and it's an unspeakable topic. It's not a historical detail. It directly informs the present. You have to be there long enough to kind of understand that. It took me a long time to get that, but anyway, in a place like Kherson, I mean, the you know, to be living amongst a population that experienced something like that, and then gets the double whammy of being the only population that exists at artillery range, a fundamental different reality. Like the difference between Disneyland and the Balkans in the 90s. Okay. You definitely have in that place uniquely those kind of experiences. But the luxury that I have, I guess, I think is a luxury this way. There's no time there. It's such a dangerous place. Very truly, we can do it, but it requires intensity that, you know, it's difficult to describe. I don't have time to sit there and think deep thoughts. And in fact, it's really irresponsible. I've learned, you know, that's the inclination. You have that experience, you see that thing. It might not be every day, but you have that experience that frankly, you never thought you'd have. Most, you know, 99.999% of the world never has. It's necessarily thought provoking. It's something that, you know, in the moment has changed you. You don't know how, you don't know why. The inclination is to kind of, you know, sit down and think about that. And the second I do, I realize I'm letting my team down if I do that, because there's stuff flying overhead. It's not until I get back here that I really have time to open that door to think about those kinds of things, and really just find myself sitting out back and thinking all day, because it's the first opportunity I have to really process those kinds of experiences. So I'm really just figuring that out right now, Arrow. You know, it is an interesting kind of thing.
So I like the way that you have your business meetings, and you're very transparent with people on Facebook, where you're having conversations with those in Ukraine. Do you not see that as a leadership role for other businesses, that they need to come out of the little closets and from behind the curtains and have conversations with those that are making a difference in other people's lives?
I absolutely do. I mean, I appreciate the kind words. We try and do it a certain way. You know, I'm 48 years old. I've learned pretty much everything that's important the hard way, and I just try to incorporate those lessons. But one of the big things that I think is important since I've been over there is to just be very transparent. You know, I didn't know anything about what I'll call the humanitarian world. You know, there's kind of big pharma, big tobacco. There's big humanity. Yeah. You know, the International Red Cross. You've got some. And these people are stewards of resources that, you know, I think there's an implicit trust there. And I don't want to cause like a massive controversy on your show, Arrow, but if you want to open up a Pandora's box, the nicest way that I can say this is it has been disconcerting to me to see how, you know, well, put it this way. Not everybody, you know, I think is as responsible as they should be with the resources that they're giving. And so I just want, you know, let's be transparent. Let's be upfront. Why wouldn't you be? You know, I mean, what have you got to hide? And also, I want to get people invested in it. You know, It's not our free store at the front. It's your free store at the front. It's everybody's free store at the front. We're just an outpost of humanity on the precipice of the apocalypse. We've set up a distribution base, but we have nothing to give if the middle line, the back line, all the people around the world that help us. It's such a beautiful thing. If they don't work their tails off the way that they do, people from all over the world working across languages and cultures every single day, Arrow, for no other reason other than they just care. How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? We have nothing to give if they don't do their part. They do their part. Our part just happens to be that we touch it last, which seems remarkably unfair, Arrow. Every single day, when we have the free store at the front, there is nothing more powerful, intimate, life-changing, very truly, inescapably so, than the ground zero experience of being a human being who gives another human being, the neediest of the neediest of the neediest of the needy, which are found, as they always are, in the most dangerous places, who come in need of, not salt and pepper. Like life's basics, food, medicine, basic clothing. These are the basics. There is nothing more intimate, life-changing, or powerful than being the human being who gives, that humanistic transaction. To put it mildly, those people are very grateful. That is just it's ground zero of humanity, and how ironic it is that these people who are grateful beyond belief, as anybody in their position would, people have suffered incomprehensibly, they're thanking me, Arrow, and I'm thinking, I didn't do anything. I just touched it last, man. It's the global aid train for Ukraine. It's all these wonderful people from all over the world that have enriched my life so much by finding us, and doing what they do so that we can, which is a lot. These people do a lot. And yes, our part of it is we happen strangely. Nobody's more surprised than me that we can do this. It's hard. It's hard as hell. It's terrifying. Every moment there is but that's our part. But it just happens to be our part. We're the front line, great, but the front line is on the same line as the back line, the middle line, and we're all on the same team. And all these other people do so much, and I get to be the one to touch it last. I get to be the one to see that mesmerizing, powerful, transcendent force that would knock anybody on their tail in a very positive way and enrich. And I get to be that. It seems remarkably unfair.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the name of your book. I touched it last.
That's a great idea, Arrow. That's a great idea. When's your book coming out?
Oh, dude, I've got 7 of them out there, and one of the things about writing books is the fact that it consumes so much time, and that you don't get that time back. And I realize that seems to be so selfish, but everything that I do, I've learned that put it in a podcast, put it on The Choice, put it on Lyrics from Rainbow Forest, put it on The Daily Mess. This way, then people can hear the emotion. They can hear everything that we're talking about. For instance, like what we're talking about. If I were to put your words in a book, I don't think you would have the impact that you do by them physically hearing your emotions.
Well, that's an interesting perspective, and it's persuasive. And thanks. I'm glad that those things translate that way. I don't know that if we have the time, and just tell me if we don't, but can I offer a different perspective on that?
Go for it.
It's interesting that you bring it up. And I'm not convinced of this. This is just a different perspective. And what you just said makes sense. But one thing that I've been thinking more and more as I've been back here, for whatever reason, is how, especially here in the first world, where we have, we don't realize the things that we have, shamefully. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude every single day. I think I can say this. I've just cried tears of, organic, of gratitude, because every single thing that I do here every day are things that I do in Kherson, but I do them now here, and I realize I'm not in danger. I mean, serious danger. Mm-hmm. I'm walking my kid to school. How grateful I am that my kid gets to go to school. Mm-hmm. How grateful I am that, all things like that. Every single going to the grocery store. And I'm just overwhelmed by but we have the freedom that we have, and naturally we use it, and that's great. And we have these things, and all of a sudden, life is a way of, how ironic is it that our life is full of like doing things like trying to hook up Bluetooth and trying to, all the things that come with that. And we never to me, it's interesting. We never take the time to step back and life is a soundbite culture. It's modern technology, all of that. And I don't know whether the solution is to lean into that and sort of embrace that and try and work within its confines. And that's a reasonable perspective. And that what you just said makes a lot of sense. But more and more for me, I have been thinking, it is so important to step out, to step out of this, to take how interesting that we spend so much time on so many things, and many of us never really just take the time to be intentional about our existence, to think about the question, does our life have meaning? I don't think there's a wrong answer to that. Everybody has, but it's a yes or no. And if it's a no, then okay, whatever. But I think most people would say yes. But if the answer is yes, then it begets this question. It begs this question: what meaning do you want to give it? In other words, what kind of life? What do you want to do with this magical, valuable, incredible thing, this precious mystery that you have for a finite period of time in your life? What do you want to do with it? How ironic that we don't take the time to think about, to be more intentional about our existences. And would we live differently? We almost assuredly would if we took the time to think about those things and charted a course consistent therewith. So your point makes a lot of sense, and I've thought about that. But for me, these deep questions. I mean, that heavy Mark Twain stuff you just threw at me. I mean, that's good stuff, and there's good stuff there. But I don't know that it can be pulled apart, in a quick 5-minute little download. I don't, that's if I'm making any sense. So
I swear to God that if you and I ever sat in your backyard just having a conversation, we would be throwing so many quotes at each other that it'd be like, what the hell?
For sure.
Nobody would understand what we're talking about.
For sure. You're right. It would be just two philosophical ships passing the night. But it would be a lot of fun. Errol, I hope we get to do that sometime, man. You're a great guy. And I know you're trying to wrap down, so I'm going to let me say this, though. I am reminded, all of your listeners would say the same thing. People like you need to hear this. As they say, people don't remember what you tell them, but they remember how you feel. And everybody that listens to your show, man, every time I talk to you, when I get off the phone, I feel way better about the universe, way more inspired and hopeful. And you're a great guy. So I think it's wonderful that you have the voice that you have and you use it.
Oh, so thank you so much. Where can people now I realize there's not a Walmart on the corners in Kherson. So therefore, how can people help out?
Appreciate you doing that. So and thank you for that. We've got a new kind of product here we're rolling out, and I'll do it real quick. www.worldaidrunners.com. We really, we don't solicit donations. We do accept them, and 100% of that goes to purchase basic food, basic medicine, basic healthcare of various kinds, basic clothing, the basics for the people of Kherson, just a population that has lived through holy hell, right there, just over 1 kilometer from the front in downtown Kherson, Ukraine, at the free store at the front. Not our, but your free store at the front. But they can also support us as well by checking out War Travel Ukraine, which we are rolling out. And I'll be talking more about this later. But basically, this is an opportunity for people to come see Ukraine. Now, obviously, there's some conversations we need to have, and there's kind of the safe sort of excursion, which involves every place in Ukraine except for Kherson, different in kind. And then there's the more sort of ambitious place that involves coming to Kherson. But we would love to have you come to Ukraine. You fly to Krakow, get there on your own nickel. We'll help you get the documents to get in. We will meet you there, give you an orientation, and take you on a customized tour of all of, and again, it'll fit your risk profile, what you want to do, but you're going to go and you're going to hand out humanitarian aid that you help fund through the all-inclusive purchase price, and you're going to have the experience that we get to have at the free store at the front of helping human beings directly. It's a life-changing experience. We want everybody to have it, and it helps fund the ongoing humanitarianism. So either worldaidrunners.org or wartravelukraine.org. More about that later. I'm excited about it, though.
Oh, I'm excited to talk to you again then, sir.
I'm always excited to talk. I learn all kinds of things, Arrow. You make the world a better place and make me better. So you're just a great guy. And I have to ask real quick, how'd the DJ experience go?
The DJ experience mean my wedding last week?
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was a 50th anniversary wedding. They redid their vows, and it's one of those. I wrote about it in my daily writing, and I said that in my 32 years of being a mobile entertainer, it took me 32 years to get to the greatest moment on my stage. It was unbelievable. Because here's the thing about it: the guy that I did this for fired me in 2015. So therefore, I forgave him. You don't forget the moments, but I forgave him and still gave him a top-notch performance.
I love that. Wow. So how'd you feel coming out the other side of that? I mean, what was that like? What kind of
that life is, forgiveness always first. That should be, you're always, we're not always going to get along, but forgive as it's going bad. Forgive in that moment of now.
And that's the title of your next book.
Ah, shut up. We didn't have this conversation, remember? Mark Twain says it's just in our imagination. So we're not even really talking.
We should co-author something. That would be just one perfect amalgam of all this stuff. Anyway, that's awesome, man. That was awesome that you did that, and it's great. It's great talking to you.
Well, man, I'm going to go to my grandson's graduation. Here's a kid that I thought for sure was going to be a high school dropout, and God love his parents, and God love everybody that stood behind him to get into this moment of graduation.
Well, please give him my congratulations and enjoy that experience. God bless you. That's awesome.
We'll talk soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.